Hello friends and welcome to day 23 of 30 inks in 30 days. I still have this terrible cold, so I kind of sound like death. Kind of feel a little like death, but we're playing with inks and pens anyway. Today's ink is Colorverse A-Boo, or designation Alpha Bootis. And the lovely Mand B provided me with all the samples that I will be working with the next 8 days. And I have paired it with my Benu Euphoria Vodka on the Rocks. And this one has I believe it's a medium nib. Yes, a medium nib. Oh shoot, I contaminated it. Oh well. So A-Boo, or Alpha Bootis, is the designation for Arcturus, which is the brightest star in the northern constellation, Bootis. Arcturus is the fourth brightest star in the night sky as well. When we see it from Earth, it looks to be positioned almost at the north galactic pole of the Milky Way. It's relatively close to us at 36.7 light years from the Sun and is a single red giant, which is an aging star. Arcturus is approximately 7.1 billion years old and has used up its core hydrogen and evolved off its main sequence. It has about the same mass as our Sun, but has expanded to 25 times its original size and is approximately 170 times as luminous. Its diameter is 35 million kilometers. In ancient Greek, Arcturus means bear guardian. In Greek mythology, the Bootis constellation represents Arcus, son of Zeus, and Callisto, daughter of the Arcadian king Lycaon. Zeus, surprise, surprise, was unfaithful and had a son, Arcus, with Callisto. So when Hera found out about this, she was pissed, and she turned Callisto into a bear. Callisto then roamed the woods as a bear until one day meeting her grown son, who was afraid of her. She was a great bear, and he drew his spear. But Zeus saw this in time to prevent tragedy and quickly intervened by sending a whirlwind to take Callisto and Arcus up into the heavens, where Callisto became Ursa Major, the Great Bear, and Arcus became Bootis. This constellation is often depicted as a herdsman with 2 hunting dogs on a leash and a club in his other hand, or a spear. There are many other stories, traditions, and history around Arcturus as well. There are even a few other Greek versions about it. So I would definitely encourage you to look it up. They're not just Western traditions. The easiest way to spot Arcturus is by following the curve of the Big Dipper, or Ursa Major. A simple way to remember how to find the star is to recall the phrase, follow the arc to Arcturus and then speed on to Spica. The latter part of the phrase refers to the bright star Spica, which is actually a binary star. And that is from a space.com article, which I will have linked below. So as I always say, I am really not a pink person, but I find this color to be really, really beautiful. The shading in here is just so nice. I would say that it's almost a dual shader. And then it looks really beautiful, I think, paired with this pen, because it's, you know, a Benu Euphoria. It's pretty bright and sparkly, and so I just thought it was a great match. And then the nib really shows the shading well in the writing. There's really not any sheen that I would say, maybe a little bit happening right here, kind of on these outer wet edges. maybe a bit from time to time in some of these letters, but nothing really to speak of. But the shading is beautiful. It's not one that I can write with for long periods of time because obviously it's a bit difficult to read. Although I bet in a finer nib, maybe even an extra fine, it wouldn't be as difficult because I feel like it would concentrate the ink more. So it would just be easier for my eye to follow. But it will also be a lovely ink, a beautiful ink to maybe do some art swatches or Zentangles or doodles or something with. So yeah, I really like how this turned out. I really like how it looks in the writing. It's a very pretty ink. The swatch card on this terrible paper doesn't show the shading quite as well as on the Hobonichi paper, but you get a little bit of it here. But then the chromatography is really, really pretty. So it looks like there's some kind of blue-gray underneath there, and then the pink, some yellow, and then up to the more magenta. And you can see that irising out from the Q-tip point. These splats are very satisfying. I think they show the shading really, really nicely. And even that little bit of outer edge where perhaps a little bit of shine is developing. That just might be deeper shading. It doesn't actually really look like sheen. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful shader. Not one I will be able to write with for any sort of duration. I'll give it a try in like an extra fine nib. I'll see what that does. But other than that, I think I'll just enjoy using it for doodling and for art. That is it for day 23. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you again tomorrow for day 24. Bye!